Hey guys, welcome to today's lunchtime devotion. I'm Pastor John Kildee with New Hope Assembly of God here in Cornell, Wisconsin. And it's Saturday, about lunchtime right now. And so I got today's lunchtime devotion for you. So in my office here and share with you some things as I was doing my morning devotion. I thought, I might as well share with you guys too what I feel like the Lord kind of spoke to me this morning, and we'll go from there. So today we are in Deuteronomy, old school, Deuteronomy 30, 11 through 14. Deuteronomy 30, 11 through 14 today. So this is what it says. This command I am giving you today is not too difficult for you. It is not beyond your reach. It's not kept in heaven, so distant that you must ask, who will go to heaven and bring it down so we can hear it and obey. It is not kept beyond the sea so far away that you must ask, who will cross the sea to bring it to us so we can hear it and obey. Says, no, this message is very close at hand. It's on your lips and in your heart so you can obey it. So that's today's lunchtime devotion from Deuteronomy 30, 11 through 14. Just that idea of, the Lord's putting those things in our hearts so that we can obey it, and all the rules and all of the don't do this, don't do that the Old Testament has. I think there's over 620 different commands in the Old Testament for people to follow. And when it gets down to it, it says, no, the message is very close at hand. It's on your lips. It's in your heart so that you can obey it. The Lord's putting those things in our hearts so that we can watch out. We can go after him. We can seek his face. And he goes on later on in verse 20, he says, you can make the choice by loving the Lord your God, obeying him, and committing yourself firmly to him. This is the key to your life. So he continues that on saying, you've got a choice. You can choose to follow these things. You can choose to seek after God. You can choose to seek after Jesus. Or you can choose to do your own evil desires, follow idolatry, follow anything that comes to your heart that you want to go do. James talks about going after our own sinful desires is what it really gets down to. And so you can make the choice by loving the Lord your God, obeying him, and committing yourself firmly to him. This is the key to your life. And so we talk about the word a lot and how the word gives us hope. The word gives us our instruction manual. And right there in Deuteronomy, it says this is the key to your life, to seek after Christ, to continue going after him and allowing him to put those words in our hearts, to put those words on our lips so that we can obey what he's asking us to do. It brings us back. We're in Romans right there, but really we can pull it back to we're in Deuteronomy there, but if we pull it back to Romans, in Romans 10, he goes over the same thing that we talked about in Deuteronomy, and he goes over, for Moses writes, the law's way of making a person's right with God requires obedience to all its commands, but faith's way of getting right with God says, don't say in your heart, who will go up to the heavens to bring Christ down to earth, and don't say who will go down to the place of the dead to bring Christ back again. In fact, the message is very close at hand. It's on your lips and in your heart. That's from Romans 10, and that's directly pulled out from Deuteronomy 30. So he's pulling it back together, pull it so that we can all come together. He continues on and he says, and this message is a very message about faith that we preach. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God. It is by openly declaring your faith that you are saved. As the scriptures tell us, anyone who trusts in him will never be disgraced. Jew and Gentile are the same in that respect. They have the same Lord who gives generously to all who call upon him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And that's Romans 10, 5 through 13 that I just read. So getting back to Deuteronomy and how they both come back and forth together, the message is close at hand. It's on your lips. It's in your heart so that you can obey it. Jesus gives us that opportunity to have the faith. He gives us that opportunity that he brings that, places those things on our heart so that we can seek after him and we can follow after him. And that's a choice that we all can make on our own to seek God today. So that's today's lunchtime devotion. Seek after the Father today. Choose to seek after him and choose to do what he's calling us to do in our hearts, which are the two things that we've been talking about, which is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. All of the commands, all those 620 commands in the Old Testament, all those commands are wrapped up in those two things. So remember that today. Seek the Lord. Choose to seek after him. When those things come up, those trials, those temptations, choose to seek after Christ today. So that's your message for today, today's lunchtime devotion. Thank you so much for following us. If you've got questions, if you got things you need us to pray for you about, if you want us to partner with you in something, please feel free to message us, email us. All our contact information's on our page, our Facebook page, and our website, cornellhope.com. So that's what we got for you today. God bless you, and as always, go be the church, all right? Love you guys.